Hey, Uncle Doug here from the Slightly Damaged podcast. I call myself Uncle Doug because I know from growing up, your uncle could say something to you that your parents been trying to say to you, even using the exact same words. It just has a different hit. I want to be that uncle, whether you're 14, 18, 35, or 105. Sometimes you just need to hear some advice or some views from some people who may have been where you're trying to go. I've come across a lot of people that I've been able to give from my experience. I'm going to focus on this as being older, wiser, and thankful. I'm coming up on a very important birthday. I'm so happy and blessed about it. I think I'm getting into that category where people call you old. But in my own mind and in my own spirit, nah, I'm still 15, 20 years younger in my energy, in my excitement and joy for living, okay? So I'm older, and you gotta be out to lunch if you don't learn anything while you're getting older. I know it's fun when you're young and everything seems like it's just grand and life will never end, but Uncle Doug is here to tell you, the ride is like a roller coaster. It's exciting, but it's quick. Man, I remember when I was a teenager, and it seems just like last month, okay? And now here I am coming up on the age where people will call a brother old. So to the youngins, I just want to say, my experience was that my father, he'd be in my ear, rah, 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 telling me all kind of stuff I really didn't want to hear. So he would say things to me, I'd hear him, but I wasn't listening to him. And the thing about it is, when life starts unraveling itself to you and you're looking for answers, guess whose voice you hear? You finally listen when you hear the echoes of the very parent that's been trying to tell you something. It just didn't sink in until you've run across the situation, right? So let me just give you an example. My dad, he was perceived as being a mean dude, right? But actually he just meant, well, he was under a lot of stress. He had 8 children by the same mother. We all lived in the same house initially, but then he bought the house next door and we lived together. We were a grand family, connected. And to this day, we're all love each other and we all celebrate each other. Let me just say this. My dad had a statement. He used to say, boy, it don't take but 5 extra minutes to do something right. He would say that all the time. It don't take but 5 extra minutes to do something right. And I'd blow it off. But let me tell you, when I finally really listened to that statement, I was about 26 years old. I was happy. I was excited. I think it was my second or third home at that time. Let me see. Second home. It was my second time having a mortgage and all that stuff. And it was in Metro Atlanta. And I was just happy. My chest was stuck out. I was still into cutting my own grass. I enjoy cutting grass. It was actually my therapy. I called it yardio. That was my exercise. Not cardio, but yardio. I remember one time I was cutting the yard. As I looked at the yard, I said, well, I'll just edge it next time. You know, I haven't edged it in a few weeks, but I'll edge it next time. I don't have time for all that. Turned to go into the garage to put away my equipment. And I'm telling you, I heard my father's voice echoing in my head. Boy, it don't take but 5 extra minutes to do something right. Now, he didn't mean exactly 5 minutes. He was just saying that extra effort will take you from okay to good to excellent. So guess what happened as a result of me going back, edging my yard? It may have taken another 35 minutes. And then while I was doing that, I said, boy, that looks pretty good. Let me hit those shrubs over there. I trimmed those shrubs. Some of them were so sweet, they looked like tater tots sitting in the yard. They were round and all that. And then the ones that were blossoming out, I trimmed them really nice. I gave it that 5 extra minutes, theoretically. I fell in love with manicuring my yard. Well, as a result, guess what this brother got in the following month from the HOA? Yard of the month. Oh my goodness, it felt so good. I'm just bringing that up to tell you youngins or anyone that's ignoring what their parents are telling them, they're not always wrong. They're dropping some golden nuggets on you and you shun them. Whatever, dad, whatever, right? And when your dad is dead and gone, That's when you start hearing his voice. Trust me, I know. My dad would probably be about 94 years old right now. And what I would give to be able to thank him, to give him a hug, because he didn't like hugging. He's from that old school, boy, you know. I remember I told him when I was leaving Detroit to fly to Atlanta, we knew everything was moved down there, and this was the final departure. I said, Dad, I love you, Dad. Yeah, look, your plane's gonna take off in a minute. He shook my hand and strong-armed me. He was like, yeah. He just said, you're gonna miss the plane. I said, oh, what's the matter, Dad? I said, I love you. And he goes, look, I'm double parked here, and you know there's airport police, they'll give you a ticket. So you all have a good flight, and I'll talk to you. Give me a call when you get there. My father just couldn't say I love you, but I knew he did. That jive sucker. I knew. But he grew up at a time where black man couldn't be all mushy and soft. He grew up at a time where he had to be kind of strong, and telling somebody you love them was reserved for women. Okay, he probably reserved that for my mother, and he even did that low key. I'm just saying that I'm older now. I'm wiser now. So thankful. I'm thankful that I was wise enough to listen to my father here on earth. But as time went on, I began to hit some moments in my own life that only God the Father could help me through. And that's when I tapped in. When I began to see how trusting God would allow me to stop doing foolish things and trust God's way, I became a parent. So as you get older, youngin', you might be 19 now, might be 24 now, but don't you discount the wisdom that your parents gave you or your uncle is trying to give you. Seriously, because they are pulling from their experiences. And you got to remember, your parents, for those who were firstborn, they had never done that before. It was an experimental project. They were like, let's see, should we do this? You know, so they did the very best they could. And all we can do is love them back by embracing their attempts at sharing wisdom with us and trying to help our life do better. And to the parents that may have pushed this video out to some people that they know that needs to hear this type of a message, stop trying to be your kid's friend. You can be nice, you can be loving and kind, but don't be their friend. I knew a lady who called her dad by his first name. Shoot, if I'd have tried that on a Thursday, I'd have would have awakened on the following Sunday going, what happened? And I'd have seen my face all hit and beat up, because my father would have knocked me out had I called him by his first name. Come on, that's a joke. So respect your parents. They may be some screwballs in your eye. They may have problems. They may have certain vices that they just can't shake. But love them anyway. Love them anyway. Love them enough to help them when you get to the place where you can help them. So on that note, I'm thankful. My birthday is in the next couple of days, and I'm hitting a number that I was like, oh God. But I'm saying, oh God, thank you. So on that note, older, wiser, and thankful, from Uncle Doug, from the Slightly Damaged Podcast. I'll see you when I see you.